one of the things that's going on right now, and I talk to a lot of friends of mine, and many of you may see this when you go to the workplace. People come to work. In fact, this is occurring throughout the United States. 67% of people come to work actually do not work. People are watching pornography while at work. People are playing on social media. People are watching Netflix, movies. People are being distracted. They're doing personal emails. Now, is this scamming the system? Do you think this is a way getting back at your employer? Probably in some sense, but ultimately it is not valuing work. It's basically saying, I'm going to scam the system by me going to work, or a lot of people are working at home now, by me doing all sorts of other things when I'm really not doing the work that I'm being paid for. And you can argue whether you're being paid enough or not, but it's about you trying to figure out ways to scam that system that you don't really value an honest day's work. And you actually are thinking that by scamming that system, you're doing quote unquote work. So as this definition says, in this enhanced definition, it says one who values labor, an honest day's work, skills, and has no interest in profiting from exploitation of others' labor and seeks to fundamentally end all exploitation by uniting workers. So why do we say this? In what I think is a much more deeper sense of valuing labor. But it also says that when you go to work, that you're not interested in exploiting that situation. So modern capitalism has gone to essentially full-blown global imperialism. So you look at companies like Google and Facebook, these companies have amassed so much capital from exploitation and censorship and all those things that they can actually have people scamming the system there. So they give people free food, free lunch, all these things. And I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was saying how he has a company that he works at. People come to work at that company. They call off Mondays and Fridays sick when they're really not sick. Some people don't even show up to work. What they do is they use their work time to figure out how to pass the interviews at Google and Facebook so they can work there and get paid a lot of money. And essentially, you're trying to scam the system. So in many ways, those people like this Reddit site, which says, let me go back to that Reddit site. It's very interesting to look at. That Reddit site is called Anti-Work, and it says unemployment for all, not just the rich. So that concept basically is saying, don't work, be unemployed, and take as much as you can. In my view, that is essentially exploiting an exploitative system for one's personal self-interest. Is that being a worker? Is that really valuing work? What it's really doing is, someone says, are all rich not working? Obviously, that's not true, because there are people who start a company, they work, they build a certain amount of value. But I think what we're seeing here is that when you start looking at monopoly capitalism, we talked about this with the baby shortage, Mead, Abbott, and Nestle, there are these massive conglomerates in the media space, social media space, Facebook, Google, Twitter. And in fact, there's a video that came out of a Twitter employee saying, hey, we come to work and we try to work as little as possible. In fact, we don't believe we should have to work at all. So what's happening is, because you have the imperialist nature of capitalism, what we live in is really not what capitalism originally started out as, that you have massive monopolies that have been created, where you do have this phenomenon where those companies are essentially making money off their monopoly situation. Like we talked about Abbott and Mead and Nestle in one of my earlier talks when we were talking about the baby formula shortage. So those companies have so much capital because of the collusion between them and government. They've created a monopoly situation that, frankly, they could probably have people play ping pong all day and only a small set of people work because they own so much of the market share. They can get away with that. Then you have a lot of these small companies, young companies, entrepreneurs who are starting. They hire working people. They see this phenomenon going over here with people scamming the system at these large conglomerates. And they're saying, hey, I'm going to go to work and I'm not going to do a lot of work. I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to do other stuff while I'm at work. Maybe I'll only work 1 hour. And they think by doing that, they're being very clever. And what that's doing is actually exacerbating the situation. In fact, at my friend's company, says people come there. This company has a data center that needs to be managed because they don't want to outsource to Amazon's data center. Anyway, because no one's working, he said, we had to get rid of our data center. No one was managing it. And guess what? We had to outsource to Amazon. So the company, because of the fact people weren't working, their data center went kaput. They couldn't manage it. So the small company, which was trying to build its own data center, had to outsource their data center to Amazon, big, massive conglomerate. And then the competent IT folks essentially go to work at Amazon.